Today we're going to go over how to sharpen knives. In a Japanese restaurant, there's generally two types of knives that we use. We'll use a kataha or a single bevel knife. This is primarily used for making sushi. To sharpen our knives, we're going to need some sharpening stones. Typically, most sharpening stones are going to be like this one. They're going to need to be soaked in water for generally about 10 to 15 minutes before you start sharpening. That's so that the moisture can get inside the porous rock, and then the knife will glide easily on top and shave the metal off. Some people will have special stones like this one. This one does not need to be soaked before you can sharpen your knives. We'll just splash water on it and then you're ready to sharpen. These are much more expensive and much harder to find. Generally with sharpening stones, there's three major types of stones. Generally there's like this one here is a combo stone. And on this one side is a very, very rough stone that's meant for taking off lots of metal. And then on this other side we have a medium grain stone. This is the typical kind of stone that you're going to be sharpening your knife on most of the time. And then there's also a fine grain stone, which is used for finishing the edge of your knife to make it nice and polished. So now it's time to go ahead and sharpen our knives. We're going to start by sharpening our kataha first. To do this one, we want to make sure that after our stones have soaked, that when we go ahead and start, make sure to put a generous amount of water on the stone, as well as on the knife. We're going to use a good amount of water here. What we're going to do to start sharpening is we're going to take two fingers and we're going to place the knife here on the edge, and we're going to hold both of our fingers together at the very tip of the knife, and then we're going to go back and forth across the stone about 10 times. So we're going to start 1, 2, 3, 10. Then we're going to move just to the edge of where our fingers were before and do it again another 10 times. Then we're going to move just down to the edge of where our fingers were before and do another 10. And then again. And again. And we're going to keep doing this process until we go to the very end of the knife. After we've reached this point, we'll then go ahead and go back to the beginning of the knife, and we're going to tilt the knife up a little bit more. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of a sharper angle. We're looking at about a 15 to 18 degree angle here. And then we're going to go ahead and start sharpening again, and we're going to start from 10. And then we're going to move our fingers down to down one more position and go again another 10. I'm going to move down again. We're going to keep moving all the way down, keep doing this. Now that we have reached the edge of the blade, we're then going to flip the blade over. And since this has what we call a single bevel, there's an angle on one side, and this side here is completely flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay this knife down flat on the flat side, and we're then going to start, and we're going to do more than 20 times. We're going to sharpen from this side. And we're going to start with our two fingers, start at the very tip, and we're going to go ahead, and if it gets a little dry, just go ahead and add a little more water. As it keeps getting dry, just keep adding more and more water. Now we're going to go ahead and start, and we're going to do about 20 times or so. Then we're going to move down and do it again. And then we're going to move down and do it again. 20. Then we're going to move and do it again. And 20. I'm going to add just a little more water. It's getting a little dry. Then we're going to move down and do another 20. And we're going to move it down and do it one last time. And 20. And now that we have sharpened the whole knife, what we're going to do is we're going to need to go ahead and check the edge of our knife to make sure that we have done a good job and that we don't need to do any additional sharpening. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to wipe the knife. What I'm doing is removing any excess metal that's still going to be on the knife. Then a good trick is to take your thumb and your fingernail here. It's at a very perfect angle to test to see if your knife is very sharp. Now what we're going to do, be careful when doing this. We're going to take it and we're going to test it on our thumbnail. The reason we're doing this is that the nerve endings in your fingers are very good at detecting any small imperfections in the knife. And what we're really looking for is that we want the knife to stick to our thumbnail. We don't want it to slide super easily over it. If it starts to stick with just a very light pressure, then we know our knife is very sharp. We're not pushing down into our thumb, we're just very lightly running it across the top. Because if you get this too sharp, you're going to cut through your finger. So we're very, very lightly placing it on our thumb and just running it through and seeing, and as it's sticking, it's doing pretty good. There's a couple spots I think I can touch up just a little bit. Very nice here at the tip. Doesn't even want to move at all. Down here I think I found a spot. Yeah, right here I'm going to go ahead and just give a little bit of touch up to make sure that it's nice and good to go. We're going to do just a couple more times right in here. Then since I'm only really want to get this, the rest of the knife was very, very nice. Then I'm just going to go ahead and now flip it back over and just finish up this portion right here. Then I'm going to go ahead and wipe the knife off again, and I'm going to go ahead and test it. That's coming out very nice. So now, once it's like that, then you know your knife is very sharp and ready to be used.